The first motorsports competition at Indianapolis Motor Speedway took place in 1909 in the form of motorcycle races. Automobile races would soon follow. When the track's original surface of crushed stone and tar proved problematic, the owners paved the track with more than 3 million bricks, giving rise to the nickname the Brickyard. It wasn't until Memorial Day of 1911 that first 500-mile race was held at the Speedway and won by Ray Haroon in his Marmon Wasp. What quickly became known as the Indianapolis 500 became one of the nation's leading sporting events through the 1920s and 30s. To win the Indy 500 was to achieve instant notoriety. The names of early winners like Tommy Milton, Louis Meyer, Wilbur Shaw are indelibly etched in the annals of American motorsports. A nationwide ban on motorsports during World War II nearly spelled the end for Indy, which lay in ruin when a consortium headed by Indiana businessman Tony Holman purchased the facility in 1945. Holman and his partners invested heavily in the facility and expanded the spectator capacity to the point that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway became the world's largest sporting arena, and the Indy 500, the world's largest single-day sporting event, with crowds regularly topping 350,000. The March of Progress also included the gradual process of paving over the bricks with modern asphalt. By 1961, resurfacing had been completed, leaving just the famous Yard of Brick at the start-finish as a tribute to the tradition of the Brickyard. In 1994, IMS President Tony George consummated an agreement with NASCAR to stage stock car racing, the Brickyard 400 at the Speedway. The first open test for NASCAR drew nearly 10,000 fans, and a new chapter of motorsports was added to Indy history. Tonight, it's the Downrange Transport Premier Series Brickyard 200. It's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway for tonight's Brickyard 200. Closing in on the latter stages of the Downrange Transport Premier Series season. Practice still underway here. About 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes really left in the session. Let's take a look, though, at the race details for tonight. 81-degree ambient temperature. Comfortable 53% humidity, partly cloudy skies. A little breezy at 15 miles per hour. Track temperature down to 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Not too much to be concerned with. Should have plenty of grip for these Xfinity machines. As we said, we are closing in on the latter stages of the racing season. Let's take a moment, take a peek at our point standings as they run so far. Coming into tonight's Brickyard 200, Steve Miles, your points leader with 1,260 points. Brandon Alphin still within striking distance at 1,217. Sam Fontaine in third, Cameron Ingram fourth, Jason Dalton fifth, Justin Bondurant sixth, Alex Cummings seventh, Alexander Bryson eighth, Diego Sainz ninth, Tristan Lattiser 10th, Luke Knupp 11th, Blaine Sparling 12th, Christine 13th, Cedric Ingram 14th, Josh Gagnon 15th, Sean Petchin is 16th, Jacob Drift 17th, and 18th is Chris Evans. A lot can change between then and now and then before we get into the end of the season here, but we'll keep updating you guys on a regular basis each week. So let's go down trackside. Let's follow some practice here, see where everyone's shaking out. Sean Petchin is the fastest, 53.30. He's kind of gone back and forth with the 21 of Brandon Alphin all practice long. An hour session to get prepared for tonight's race. Again, Brandon Alphin just 4/100ths of a second shy of matching the time of Sean Petchin. Steve Miles, again, the points leader, just 100th off of Alphin. As we've come to expect here in this series, pretty close times in the practice session. A little more spread out than we're used to seeing. It's kind of scary, though, when you look at it. It's only 3.5 tenths from first to 10th. 1 minute remains, and we'll get right into single lap qualifying. They'll have 2 laps to get it done here to set the field. Need to take those 2 laps within 5 minutes. That is the allotted time for this session. Talking about the race, they do have full fuel load, 100% fuel on board with 3 sets of tires available to their discretion over the wall. Again, only 80 laps to be run here at Indy. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still 200 miles. Going to have to be real cautious about when you take tires. They're going to be a big advantage here with these relatively flat corners. Yes, there's some banking, but we're not talking about Bristol. Got 25 cars here tonight. It's not a massive field, so we kind of expect these guys to get stretched out, spread apart here. Some distance from one car to the next over the course of long green flag runs. So that really could turn into some decision making as far as the pit stops and fuel is concerned. We'll just have to wait and see. So practice comes to an end here. Let's see who takes to this track first here to start qualifying. Looks like J.W. Miller at least first at the end of pit lane. Yes, it is. He is going to roll. J.W. Miller out of St. Paul, Minnesota. Out of turn 4, going to take the green flag here. First lap of 2 for J.W. Miller. Miller a little loose out of turn 1. Saw that slight wiggle out of that number 6 machine. Turn 2 a little cleaner. Down that super long back straightaway here. Again, it's basically a rectangle here. A very unique layout here at Indianapolis. Miller getting right alongside that outside wall before he makes his turn in. Out of 4. Let's see where he ends up. 53.630. Puts him P1 for now. Brandon Alphin goes to the point on his first lap, 53.40. I think he ran a 36. No, it was a 34, I think, in practice. We'll see if he can improve upon that. Great first lap. This will be the indication, too, as what lap is faster, the first or the second. We see that does kind of vary from track to track. Kind of got to wonder if it's going to be that first or second lap, really, because you talk about low tire pressures. You got to get some heat in them for them to handle properly, but with added heat includes added pressure. Added pressure makes that tire a little bit taller. The tire is taller, so that rear spoiler is higher in the air as well. So you may have some better downforce in the corner. You give up some straightaway speed with the added drag. Alphin across the stripe for his second lap. Not quicker, 53.718. Currently on the pole position for now, Sam Fontaine works the backstretch. And Fontaine takes the hard left out of turn 4 and just comes right down pit lane. Wasn't happy with that second lap. No need to count it. And Bondurant looks like he does the same. A 53.59 on his first lap. He is slow on the backstretch. He's going to go one and done. Steve Miles just about to take the green flag. Just amazing how far they carry the throttle down into turn number one. It's just as that straightaway starts to no longer be straight. That's right about when they lift. Brandon Alphin still the top time, 53.40. Petchin second quick, 53.47. Remember, they were back and forth as far as who had the best time in practice. Petchin won practice. So far, Alphin winning qualifying. Miles off turn 4, looking real smooth. Smart move there, too, coming down off the wall just enough. About a car width and a half. He goes P1, 53.237, just as he loses connection. Or just as the session ends. Even better, timed that one perfect, didn't get 2 laps in. But it looks like Miles is going to go to the point. So with that, let's take a look at our starting grid. Of course, on the pole position, it is the 24 as Steve Miles locking in that lap just in the nick of time. A 53.237, faster than anybody ran in practice. Starting outside front row, the 21 of Brandon Alphin. Row number 2, it's Sean Petchin in the number 69. Sam Fontaine, the 77, starts 4th. Ben Pierce in the 4. He'll start from the 5th position. Starting in the 6th spot, it's Jason Dalton in the 2. Starting 7th in car number 11, Justin Bondurant. J.W. Miller is going to start 8th with Diego Sainz in the 44. Starting in the 9th position, Alex Bryson in the number 38. He'll round out your top 10 with Sam Barnes, the 22 machine, with Down Under Racing starting 11th. Cameron Ingram with Gunslinger Racing. He starts 12th. Starting in the 13th spot, it is the 63 of Alex Cummings. Chris Evans, the 00 will start 14th. Starting 15th, Tristan Lattiser, the number 23 out of Canada. Richard Midkiff, the number 29, starts 16th. Luke Simonson, the number 49, GZ Racing entry. He'll start 17th. For Mace Racing, it's Jacob Drift. He starts in the 18th spot with Blaine Sparling rolling 19th. Matt Telder in the familiar number 1. He'll start from the 20th position. Chris Dean, the 48 machine. He'll start 21st. Starting 22nd, Tyler Brewer in the 40. Josh Gagnon with Ace Racing. He'll start 23rd. Luke Knupp in the 15. 24th is his place to start. And Gary Wright, last but not least, starting 25th in the number 61. It's your starting grid for tonight's Brickyard 200. Once again, let's take a look at the race details for tonight. It is a 200-mile race, 80 laps here in Speedway, Indiana, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Air temperature 80 degrees, humidity 54%, partly cloudy skies. The wind has come down just a bit. It was 15 miles an hour earlier. It is now 9. Track temp, however, is up a couple of degrees to 99 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll see how that affects the handling on these race cars in the early stages of tonight's race. Field has rolled off a pit lane, down through turn 1 and 2 on 1 of 1 formation laps. Yes, I called it a formation lap. Few drivers looks like haven't taken to the back of the field here. Blaine Sparling, Luke Knupp, Gary Wright. Sparling is listed as in his vehicle in pit lanes. I'm not sure the scenario there is with him. Still sits in the pit box, potentially serving a penalty here. I think that is the case. I thought I did read that, but Luke Knupp and Gary Wright, not sure the situation there. Pace car lights are off. So far, looks like we're lined up nicely to get a green flag here as they come back to the main straightaway. Beautiful crowd on hand here, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You think it's the Indy 500, this place is packed. Pace car pulls off.
Green flag.
Green flag waves. We are underway from Indianapolis. Lap one in the books. Steve Miles, he's going to lead it. Puts about 7/10 on the 21 of Brandon Alphin. We'll see if this place just caters to his driving style. Miles looking comfortable early on. We had one car in the fence there. I'm not sure who exactly that was. Maybe Jason Dalton. No, it was the 4. That's Ben Pierce. Scraped the right sides in the safer barrier out of turn number 2. Gonna lose a lot of momentum in a couple of spots. Diego Sainz looking to the inside. Justin Bondurant's already gone around and maybe some contact. Sainz slides up the racetrack. Going down a little arrow tight there. And you see the snake starting to coil already here off turn number 4. Slithering down the main straightaway, trying to break the draft. You see that with Indy cars quite a bit. They're making it happen here with the Xfinity cars as well. Rumor on the street, too, for those of you that love this oval, want the Cup Series back on it instead of the road course. It seems, I think I saw that Goodyear was scheduled a tire test on the big track here pretty soon. That is a good sign. Cup Series to make its way back to the oval once again. Cameron Ingram just taking a spot from Alex Bryson. He moves himself up into the 9th spot. Bryson back to the 10th position. Miles continues to lead here, almost a full second over the 21 of Brandon Alphin. Battle with Sam Barnes and Chris Evans. Evans in the 13th spot in the 00. Sam Barnes just ahead in that 22 machine. They were side by side into turn 3. They got single file quick. Early on here at Indianapolis, only 5 laps in. Field starting to run out single file. Battles here and there, nothing of too much significance. Still seeing the field snake its way down the main straightaways though, front and back, trying to break the draft. We were talking about that just a bit in qualifying at the very end of qualifying as Steve Miles completed his lap, how he was running about a car's width or width and a half off of that wall. Drivers have found that if you are tucked right up against that wall in the straightaway by yourself, it actually creates a little bit of drag. So you can pick up a little bit more pace to stay away from that wall. Certainly paid off for Miles as he took the pole position for the race. Sainz making a move here, it looks like, on Ben Pierce. Looking back to the inside. Remember, Pierce got in the wall a handful of laps ago. Sainz tried to make the pass after that. Slid up the racetrack. They almost made contact, but here he goes again. Back to the bottom. Left side's below that white line. A little bit of extra grip down there. Completes the pass out of turn 4. Move Diego back up into the 7th spot from the 9th starting position. Alex Bryson looking a little bit racy behind Cameron Ingram there. Thought about looking to the inside, took a peek at the minimum, tucks back in behind. He's got J.W. Miller out the back window as well. Bryson with a run out of 2 down into turn number 3. He's going to take this spot from the 5. J.W. Miller is going to kind of take advantage here. He's going to go alongside and try to follow the 38 through. Still not quite clear of Ingram. He's got it now, so Ingram loses 2 spots there. He falls out of the top 10 in the 11th spot. Bryson still hanging with the 9th position. J.W. Miller, though, looks pretty racy in behind him as well. He's closing the gap slightly, a little bit each corner. This could turn into a battle here before we know it. Other than that, though, everybody else on the speedway minding their P's and Q's early on, not being too aggressive, taking advantage when need be. Back to Sam Barnes in the 12. Correction, the 22 in 12th. Still in the early stages here at Indianapolis. Not a whole lot going on the track as far as changes of position. We found one here. Alex Bryson under attack or on the attack, taking the spot from the 4 of Ben Pierce. Now again, J.W. Miller is going to try and follow him on through. Miller using the 38. Really any car that's in front of him making a pass as a lead blocker here. Gives him an opportunity just to follow him on to the next spot. Kristen Laddiser tucks in behind the 00 of Chris Evan. So the 48 of Christine making a move on Sam Barnes as well. It's going to be the name of the game here. Get somebody out in front of you to make a pass and then try to follow him through. Matt Telder does the same. Alex Cummings may take advantage here on the straightaway as well. Steve Miles still with the race lead, with the deficit closing between the 24 and the 21 of Brandon Alphen. Again, these guys are teammates, so don't expect too many heroics out of either one of them. If they're going to pass, they're going to do it with ease. But Alphen is starting to close. It was 8-9 tenths of a deficit early on. Miles had a pretty significant lead there, and it's closed now to 3/4 of a second. We saw it as low as just under 6 tenths just a moment ago. Cummings working around the backside of Matt Telder here, trying to take a position away. Slow car, I think that might be the 4 once again. Ben Pierce off the pace slightly, not significantly, but that group caught him in a hurry. Don't know if he got right side into the wall again. That happened early on in the race, but he's certainly off the pace. The 00 gets to the inside through the short chute. Back to the main straightaway here off of turn number 4. Pierce still trying to fight back on the outside. He's got a little bit of a draft here behind him, but next change lanes go to the bottom here. They're going to follow Pierce. Chris Evans slides up. He's kind of the leader in this pack, but Pierce slides up the racetrack again, way up into the marbles, gets the wall. Teller avoids, Cummings avoids. Close call. Ben Pierce struggling here as of late. Had a contact with the outside wall in the first couple of laps. He's done it again. He's way up the racetrack. He might hit the wall another time here. That's really a slippery place to try and get that car to turn. That's where all the tire debris ends up. The marbles, as they say. Pierce has slipped back to the 18th position. Meanwhile, Josh Gagnon trying to take a spot from Sam Barnes as well. And Ben Pierce, he's going to come to pit lane here. Pierce obviously with some right side damage. He'll have to get that addressed. No fast repair in this series. Pierce just sits in the pits here. He's not taking any tires. Again, they do have 3 sets to work with today. And honestly, anytime after, I'd say, lap 20, if we get a yellow, you're going to see guys take the tires, even if it's close. With that, Pierce appears to be out of this race. Not sure if he's going to come back out. He's already down a lap, though. Miles back into turn 1. He has stretched that lead out again over teammate Brandon Alphen. Is just so big. You watch these cars go through these corners, you don't think they're really going that fast, but the place is just that massive. Moving pretty good. I know in the Xfinity cars, upwards of 190 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway. We'll watch it right now, 188. Again, that's on old tires, so that's moving pretty good. We've seen as high as 195. I think that was Cameron Ingram, but he's in the draft. Miles well in command. We see a battle here with Chris Dean and Matt Telder shaping up once again. Chris Evans and Alex Cummings in behind. Looking inside. Takes the spot down into turn number 1. You saw that develop with the onboard camera aboard Matt Teller's machine. Steve got the run out of turn number 4, used the draft all the way down the straightaway, took the opportunity at the last minute to look to the inside and take the position away. Christine up into the 12th spot. Josh Gagnon hits the pit lane, locks him up on entry. That's the hard thing to do, too. You're wide open throttle, almost 200 miles an hour here so long that sometimes it's very deceiving coming to pit lane. You think you're going a lot slower than you are, then all of a sudden you look down and you're way too fast, as it looks like Josh has missed his pit entry. Well, there he goes. Did we lose him? I think we might have lost him. Tyler Brewer still in the pit lane. Tyler's been there for quite some time as he does roll back out. Don't know if he had an incident on the racetrack. We'll have to go back and try and find that. Tyler in the pits, though. It's been well over a minute. Brewer back on the track. A little bit of right rear damage, but nothing real significant that I can see. Sam Barnes hits the pit lane. Right sides for sure. Crew goes around to the left. 4 tires and fuel for the 22 with Sam Barnes. Drops the jack. He's down and away. Some early but somewhat planned pit stops, it seems, for some of these drivers. Barnes is going to lose a lap, but here comes Justin Bondurant. He's down pit lane as well. So I would definitely say this is planned and scheduled slightly earlier. There is a bit of fall off here if you look at it. Steve Miles, his fast lap of the day so far of 53.58. His last lap of 56.07. He didn't really make a mistake because Alvin was there too, of 56.11. Bondurant having some connection issues, seeing him flash in and out. Hopefully he's okay. Quick stop and he's out and away. Big time connection issue for Bondurant there, but he's back in it. Steve Miles has been your race leader since the drop of the hat tonight. It's 1.6 seconds still ahead of the 21er Brandon Alphin without him closing back in. It was as little as 5/6 just about 10 laps ago, maybe 5 laps ago. Miles was able to stretch it back out. They still have yet to make some pit stops here. Everybody from P1 back to 17th still needing to make a pit stop. Those that have stopped, Justin Bondurant, Sam Barnes, though not on the lead lap, Ben Pierce, Tyler Brewer, Josh Gagnon, Blaine Sparling. I think Blaine actually only made 3 laps. He's out of this event. Still 21 laps in. Miles is going to put it up to 22, stays on the racetrack. I'm curious to see where Bondurant cycles back through with that early stop, this place being so abrasive. All that tire fall off. Does he gain a ton of track position through this pit cycle, just stopping early? It's going to kind of all come out in the wash at the end of the mid portion of this race, but gives him an opportunity to be out front, maybe get some laps led, some bonus points. We'll have to see. Bondurant's last lap, though, of 53.95. Miles last 56.07. Correction on the Bondurant lap. It was 53.88. And Steve Miles crosses the line here. He picks it up a little bit, gets it under 56 seconds at 55.95 for race leader Steve Miles. That's pretty good. That's hustling here on old tires. Matt Telder in the pits. Not too aggressive on entry here. We've seen some guys really try to maximize that entry, but they lock up the tires. It's not as big of a deal if you're going to change them anyway, but you don't want to slide too far past that pit entry line and get a penalty. Telder comes to a stop in his pit box. Definitely getting fuel here. I don't think that thing went on jacks at all. He might be trying to save a set. Oh, there it is. We just missed the right side. So 4 tires in fuel for Matt Telder. Crew finishes up the work, and he's down and away. Steve Miles back to the main stretch. He's going to go by Telder here. Miles super consistent, running a 56.07 again. I think this is probably the 3rd time in about 6 laps he's run that identical lap time. Telder listed in P19 here after his pit stop. We'll see how everybody cycles back through again. We've got two groups, really. One group deciding to make their pit stops a little bit earlier, and then the second group, they're going to stay out to the bitter end, hope for a caution, or they run out of fuel, one or the other. Meanwhile, Alex Cummings from P12, he's in the pits. Ooh, looked a little hot coming in. A little bit of right side damage on his machine. Ooh, stops short of the box, has to pull forward a little bit further. That's going to cost him some time. That is a lot of time under green flag conditions. Luke Simonson also in pit lane. Luke still sporting a throwback Coca-Cola paint scheme. I think that's from the Suzuka race in Japan back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Alex Cummings still in the pits. I said it when he came down pit lane. He looked a little hot coming in, and what was it? Well, it was a 40-second stop overall, so maybe not a penalty. Might have been getting some repairs made. Meanwhile, Brandon Alphin in pit lane. Not that you can see him. That's better. Right side tires go on. Left side tire change complete. 4 tires and fuel for Alpha, and he's down and away as well. Miles stays on the racetrack, so Sean Petchin's going to slide up into the 2nd spot. Sam Fontaine in pits. Fontaine finishes up his pit work. He rejoins the action. And here comes Steve Miles. He's coming down pit lane as well. His first stop of the day from the race lead. It's going to give Sean Petchin the top spot momentarily. Petchin still needing to make a stop, but Miles, Alex Bryson, J.W. Miller, all down pit lane. Miles having to go awfully slow down the pit lane there, that pit road speed limit. Got to be careful not to go too fast. Lucky for him, though, he doesn't have to worry too much about that leaving the pits, as with the pole position, he gets that #1 pit stall, so he can just drop the clutch and go. Good stop for Miles, 14.9 seconds. A little slower than Alfin. Alfin was a 14.78. Sean Petchin will come to pit lane. Jason Dalton in behind. Chris Dean, Diego Sainz, Cameron Ingram also coming down to the pit lane. So here's the thing we're going to talk about here. We talked about it a bit before. Justin Bondurant in his early pit stop. How much track position was he going to gain with the fresher tires over the course of the run? He pit about 10 laps ago, so we had plenty of time on the racetrack with fresh tires compared to the rest of the field. And just like that, Justin Bondurant, your new race leader. So it certainly helped. It worked, but you've got to find a way to make it work in that final stage. If you can do that in that final stop, it could work out for you. The way things are going right now at lap 29, we haven't seen the yellow flag come out yet. Pretty cool if we can keep it that way. We'll see how it pans out, but we've talked about that here. Wilkesboro was a little rough with the cautions. We had a bunch, I lost count, but we still had a great race. The second half of it especially was fantastic. Lots of action to cover. These guys figure it out, but here we are, over a third distance here in tonight's Brickyard 200, and not a single caution to speak of. Bondurant still with the race lead. Now Brandon Alfin, after completing his stop though, he's going to be in that second spot. He's still 2 seconds back from the 11, but he's going to eat that up pretty quick. Remember, Bondurant pit lap 19. Alfin came at 25. Doesn't sound like much at 6 laps, but that's a lot here. Alfin runs a 54.06, and Bondurant runs a 55.16. So a second and a tenth faster was Alfin that last lap. And here comes Steve Miles also in that third position after his pit stop. He came at lap 27. So he's going to be coming through here with some pace, and Bondurant blinking out is going to be a nervous action here for Brandon Alfin once he gets there. He's going to be having to be very careful trying to pass the 11 here without making any contact if there's any kind of connection issue with the 11. Very quickly, you see how fast Alfin is caught up here. He's less than 4 tenths now, less than 3 tenths out of turn 2. He's going to get the draft here down the back straightaway. I bet you'll see a pass here coming into turn 3. And if not 3 out of 4. Alfin taking a look, not going to be super aggressive here, but Bondurant knows he's going to be getting past here with the older tires. Brandon Alfin to the point. Bondurant gets a piece of the wall on exit. This place doesn't look that narrow on first glance, but it really is. Factor in how wide the actual groove is. There's not a lot of room for 2 cars side by side. You saw it happen just there as Miles gets by as well. Alfin to the point, Miles up into the second spot, 32 laps up on the board. We're going to go HBR TV side by side. Stay with us. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, lap 35 on the board under our first caution of the day. You may have seen it in the side-by-side. Not really sure the purpose of the caution per se. We did have a car stop in the access lane, essentially. During green flag conditions, it was Luke Simonson, and for some reason, iRacing decided to throw the caution. That's probably the most, well, I guess Charlotte All-Star Race realistic caution you could expect, but in most cases with iRacing, you kind of don't get the caution when you hope to get it. But it is what it is. The caution flag out here, lap 36 now. The car's crossed the yard of brick. Everybody and their brother down pit lane here. We'll see who does what as far as strategy is concerned. Be 4 tires and fuel. I know that hasn't been too long since they all stopped, but be curious to see what this does to everybody's strategy, especially Justin Bondurant. He may have to, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough left here. He did come into pit lane, but he is still in pit lane. Not sure the problem is, but if he was going to try the short pit and do the undercut thing again, that strategy, I don't think it's going to work at this point. He's in the pits for a while here, 37 seconds. That's likely tires, fuel, maybe some repairs, but we did see him get a piece of the wall when the leaders were going back on by. But trying to get the short pit strategy here again, we're not even halfway. He could try it, but he would need a bunch of cautions to save those tires. He's already used 2 sets. He's got 1 left over the wall. We'll see how this plays out. Interestingly enough, Jacob Drift opting to stay on the racetrack. That's an interesting call. His best lap of the day overall, a 54.54. We've seen some of the faster guys running laps in that realm on somewhat worn tires. We'll see how he's able to defend here. The good track position in the laps led. It's a good call here if you're trying to gain some extra points. But I fear that on that restart, you got to be careful not to spin the tires. You don't want those guys behind you on sticker tires to run over you. The restart here, lap 38. Pace car lights are off. We're forming up 2 by 2. I will say that seeing a number 14 lead the field at Indianapolis in any form or fashion, if you're a diehard race fan, definitely puts a smile on the face. And it doesn't even have to be Tony Stewart. It could be Tony, it could be AJ, whoever you want. So here we go, working off of turn number 4 here. Field formed up 2 by 2. Getting ready to go back to the green flag here again, lap 38. Pace car pulls off.
Green flag.
Green in the air. And you see it, a little tire spin off the 14. The rear end of that car wiggling around. Alfin's going to jump to the inside here right after start finish. Jacob goes up the racetrack. Miles takes advantage. He gets the lead right into turn number 1. We saw it. Jacob Drift the tires on the restart, having to struggle to get the power down. Now he's up the racetrack having more problems. Don't think he got the wall there, but he's struggling trying to keep the handle on that number 14 machine. He's already back to the 7th position as J.W. Miller takes advantage. Cameron Ingram also going to try and take the spot. Throw out the anchor, Gilligan. He's going to the bottom. And there's the snake once again on the main straightaway as Steve Miles going to take the lead here and lead that lap number 38 after the restart back down into turn number 1. And it's the same show we saw earlier. Steve Miles and teammate Brandon Alphin, the top two. Sam Fontaine up into the 3rd position. Sean Petchin 4th. Dalton 5th. Coming to lap 40, just about halfway. Miles still with the race lead. Man, this one looks good for him. I know we got a half a race left still to run. He's got to do it, be mistake-free, and hold off a hard-charging number 21 of Brandon Alphin. Miles has certainly been the class of the field here today. Kind of a restart here of our first half of the race as Miles comes off turn 4 here. Going to put us at halfway. Guys are really getting strung out, single file. Take care of those tires early on, kind of maximize their grip levels throughout the course of the race. Man, oh man, it looks like we're going to have a battle up front here in just a minute. Alphin closing in on Steve Miles. Mistake for Alphin there out of turn 4. Get the left side too far on the curb. Coming to lap 43, Miles still with the lead here. It was getting close there for a moment. We thought Alphin was going to put a charge on and try to go for the top spot. Make that pass under green flag conditions. It didn't come to fruition. Still a quarter second the advantage for Miles. They've got about 1 1/4 back to the 77 to Sam Fontaine in P3. Sean Petchin runs 4th. And then Jason Dalton in the 2 up into the 5th spot. Still seeing that snake. Guys really just trying to break the draft when they do that. They're not really shortcutting anything. Yes, they run a little bit shorter distance if they're down at the bottom, but they really do need to come back up top of the racetrack to get the better arc for corner entry. You can't just stay on the bottom all the way down the back straightaway, like a lot of guys may tend to do for qualifying purposes, just trying to make time at Daytona or like a Talladega. You might want to run that yellow line the whole way around. Can't really get away with it at a place like Indianapolis, though. It's basically square. They're 90-degree corners. Yes, they're sweeping. They're long, but they're still relatively flat. We talked about that early on. Don't have a ton of banking to rely on. These big, heavy stock cars, certainly not the long-term goal or purpose of the builders of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was open wheel cars, and that's kind of what it was built for. Indy cars run 235 plus miles an hour around here, averages. Nowhere near the pace today. Sean Petchen's really closed up to the back bumper of Sam Fontaine here. We'll see if we can do anything with him. Petchen started in the third spot today. He slipped back to fourth. See if he's got enough pace. Remember, he was fastest in the practice session. Petchen is there. I just wonder if he's getting into some dirty air here. He's losing the nose on the race car. Closes in within a car length here through the short chute. Petchen seems to be a little bit faster there through turn 4. Last lap for Petchen, though, was a 53.70. Almost 0.2 quicker than Fontaine. Just can't find the magic solution to get around. Checking on this battle, too, here. Bondurant under attack from the 48 of Chris Dean. Oh, in contact into turn 1. Bondurant loses connection, gets into the Armco. Safer barrier, that is. Caution on the Speedway. We just saw it shaping up. I saw it at the top of the screen down the front stretch. Aggressive move by the 48 of Chris Dean. And again, we talked about how narrow this place can be in the groove. Bondurant tried like heck to keep it pinned down alongside the 48, but contact was made. Let's get a look at it here, another look at it. Oh, it looks like Dean may have slid up the racetrack slightly. I don't know if Dean turned in too early and kind of had to adjust, but in the adjustment or maybe even a correction of the car, he definitely got into the 11. Likely to be day done for Bondurant. I'm surprised that thing's still running, but he's certainly not going to be on the pace. Too much aero damage. I don't know if he's going to survive. We'll see. It's still running, so I'm sure he's going to try and fix what he can. So this could be the final tire stop of the day for these drivers. Just about everybody up and down pit lane has burned 2 sets of tires. This really does work out, though, for one driver. The 14, Jacob Drift. Jacob Gladitz, you may see him in the timing tower. Remember, Jacob, a little bit of damage on that machine. He's going to get it fixed, but he's got 2 sets of tires still over the wall. So this caution really did help him. He restarted in the lead. He slipped back into just inside the top 20s. He gets to his pit box here. He's going to take tires now, but again, keep in mind, he's putting on his second set. Everybody else at the Speedway, as far as I know, has taken their last set. So Jacob's got one more set of tires over the wall. If we go another 15, 20 laps and we get a caution, Jacob Drift may come down pit lane by himself, but he's going to have the freshest tires of the bunch. He's going to hang here and try to get some repairs made. That's all right. Sam Fontaine, though, he's down and away, as is the rest of this field. While we're under caution, we're going to take a very short break. We'll be back after this. And it looks like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short... Back at Speedway, Indiana for the Brickyard 200. Lap 50 about to go up on the board. In fact, that'll be the lap we go back to the green flag. Our second caution of the night. Really our only one truly for cause. First one, a driver stopping in the access road for pit lane. Really don't think that should have brought out a caution, but I don't make those decisions. This one, legit, down into turn 1. Justin Bondurant and the 48 of Chris Dean coming together. So it sets us up for a restart, and it really puts Jacob Gladich, Jacob Drift, in a great position here. If he could just get some luck, grab another caution here with enough time to utilize some fresh rubber. Pace car pulls off. Barney with the green in hand.
Green.
We're racing back again here at Indy. Talking about tire strategy with Jacob Drift, it looks like Sean Petchin may have stayed out as well. I don't know how he would have. Oh, and Sam Fontaine is in the fence. Just talking about strategy, that changes everything. That's like everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And, well, Sam Fontaine.
You happen to get a look at your top clear on track right
just
after
got
that
punched in the mouth. Sam Fontaine in trouble here from the race lead. I'll have to go back and look at it. I was looking over at the timing and scoring when it happened, so I don't know if there was contact to initiate that. But we're going to find out through the beauty of instant replay. Oh, definitely contact. Got into the back of the 77 was Steve Miles. I don't think that was intentional by any means, but man, did not cut him a break. Hard to defend that one. Roof cam from Steve Miles into turn 3. I mean, Miles ran his line. He came down the racetrack. It's tough to say. I mean, I'm sure he ran it the way he's been running it all day long and maybe just didn't anticipate the 77 to be off throttle as long as he was, but it happened. Fontaine in the pits from the race lead here. He sits 18th for the time being, but Miles just now puts him a lap down. So 3 cautions. We're on lap 53. You got to think, I just don't think it's way too soon. You think about guys that have an extra set of tires over the wall. I know the inclination there is, I want to come down there and get those fresh tires, but I don't think it's time yet. I know we haven't had a lot of cautions today. We had one that we shouldn't have had, and really only just 2 since then. It's hard to gamble and bank on that yellow flag, but I guess if you know you don't necessarily have the pace to go up and run down and then pass the top 3, you kind of have to gamble a little bit. And guys like Jacob Drift, even Sean Petchen, who's had pace, he was fastest in practice, trying to gamble a little bit here, hoping to get that caution at just the right time so that he can come down and get fresh tires when nobody else has that opportunity. So we got Valley Odinson in the stream chat asking about lap times. Well, right now, the best lap of the night that I can see is a 53.58. That's out of our current race leader, Steve Miles. But the fall off, it's pretty significant. It's only about 10 or 15 laps. They lose about 3 seconds. So on the worn tires, you're about 56 and change. In fact, Valley, if you keep a close eye on the overlays here, we're going to put up the lap time charts. Granted, these are under caution. Those will change as we go back to the green flag here, so keep an eye on that. Right now, we're focused on our race leader. That's Steve Miles. We'll watch his lap times for a handful here and see how things stack up. Pace car lights are off, so we are on the one to go. It'll be lap 55 when we take the green flag. 26 laps remain, if that is the case. iRacing.com pace car is off. Barney the flagman with the green in hand. He waves it, and we're back racing. What a restart for Steve Miles. Unfortunately for the 77, Sam Fontaine still in the pits trying to get repairs made. Field getting smaller and smaller throughout the course of this event, but they're still snaking it down the straightaways. Such a cool thing to see. You really don't see it much anywhere else. Maybe Pocono, you might see it on that Long Pond straightaway. Back to the front stretch here. Steve Miles going to put a green flag lap on the board. .7 for Miles. And you'll see that continue to get taller and taller. That number, like I said, I'd expect to see it in the low 56s. 25 laps to go. They've got relatively fresh tires on. We'll have to keep an eye on it. We'll watch it for a handful of laps here. We'll keep the graphic up so you guys in the stream can watch and see what type of lap time fall off there truly is. Battle for the third spot. Sean Petchen going around J.W. Miller. He's got it with ease. So coming to 24 laps to go, it's Miles, Alphin, Petchen, Miller, and Dalton, your top five. Much faster lap for Petchen that time by a 53.860. Petchen seems to be moving pretty good here. It says he pit last at lap 35, but the way he's running, I don't know. He must have taken tires. There's just no way. I'm going to bet that my timing and scoring is inaccurate here. Once in a while, it will miss that. You make your pit stop and have a connection issue. Sometimes it doesn't send the data properly. But Petchen looking real strong. I don't want to cut him too short here, but I think he does have some fresh rubber underneath him. Jacob Gladich, Jacob Drift running in the 16th spot, still in the number 14. Just crossing his fingers for a yellow or an opportunity to put that last set on. On board with Brandon Alphin, he's under attack. Petchen wants that second spot. Tries to get into the inside, down into turn one. He is alongside. Do they rub fenders? Back to the throttle through the short chute. Still alongside. Petchen up into the second spot, not quite clear. On to turn number two, he's got it. So now the question is, what does Sean Petchen have for Steve Miles? Remember, he's been awful quiet here this afternoon in this race, but was quick in practice. Fastest time overall in the practice session. Started in the third spot, couldn't take the pole. Clearly has a fast race car. Gets around this place really well. 21 laps to go. Will he make a challenge for the top spot here soon? Valley, if you take a look here, there's your fall off, at least with Sean Petchen. Lap 55 to 59. There's not a ton of it, but it eventually will fall off significantly. He's actually getting faster. It's kind of the opposite here. Steve Miles, on the other hand, let's look at that. Lap 55 was a 54.7. 53.8, 54.0, 54, 54. So his lap times are remaining pretty consistent for now, but again, expect them to fall off considerably as this run continues on. $20 laps to go from Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 200 Downrange Transport Premier Series. We're going to take our final HBR TV side-by-side break. We will be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 200 in the closing laps. Steve Miles still out in front, 16 to go. In that break, Sean Petchin unfortunately threw out the anchor. He was in the second spot. Now he's slipped back to the fifth position. I'm just starting to wonder if maybe the tire information I have is accurate. Maybe he was just pushing real hard early on. Might have burned his stuff up, knowing he's got an extra set and knowing that he's going to need the track position, but also a timely caution to take advantage of it. We'll see what happens. Still running back in that fifth position, but 38 of Bryson hot on his trail, car length and a half behind. Cameron Ingram and Alex Cummings battling for position as well. This would be for the seventh spot. Steve Miles with a 1.04 second advantage over 21 of Alphen. Ingram slid up the racetrack just a bit. I don't know if he just lost the nose of the car or what, but Cummings was able to keep it right where he wanted it to be. Now he's all over the back bumper off of turn number 4. Might have a slipstream here down the front stretch. Might take advantage to the inside. No, Ingram takes the lane away. Cummings stays topside. Ingram now back. Will we see the crossover? Nope, not enough time to make it happen. Ingram maintains the 7th position, but Cummings seems to have the faster car. Oh, a little mistake out of Ingram, a little mistake out of Cummings off of turn number 2. They think the 5 got a piece of the wall. Cummings takes the spot. Ingram's going to lose a bunch of ground here. And for a moment, I thought he was running out of gas. Definitely got the right side of the wall. Fuse is still lit, though. Fire coming out of the pipes. There's got to be fuel in there somewhere. And Ingram goes from 7th back to 10th with that timely mistake that benefited the 63 of Cummings, Diego Sainz, and Ben Pierce. Speaking of Ben Pierce, he's all over the back bumper of Diego Sainz. Taking a look into 1. Miles still with the lead, over a second advantage. This is the battle for the 8th position. Ooh, Sainz got a small piece of the Armco. I keep calling it Armco. Called a road race a couple nights ago. Last night, actually. Lots of Armco. No safer barriers there. Plenty here at Indy. Ben Pierce taking a peek again here. Sainz runs them all the way down to the grass into the backstretch. Goes back up the track to get entry to turn 3, but Pierce is faster. Pierce has got 7/10 a lap on him right now, but Diego doing a good job. Keeping the 4 in the rear view mirror. Oh, real loose off of 4, or is that just a dive bomb to the bottom? Gets alongside. Does the 4 has to tuck back in? You really want to take advantage of that slipstream or that draft all the way down the straightaway and then make that late move. I know you're susceptible to being blocked when that's the case, but you got to take advantage of the draft. On board with Ben Pierce. Sainz really doing a good job trying to either take the draft away or just block the lane. Pierce goes up the racetrack, going to be a tall order to make the pass on the outside. Oh, yeah, it is. Gets it in the marbles. Ben Pierce up the racetrack. We've seen that happen with him a couple of times tonight. It's so easy to get aggressive and slide up the track, but there's just no grip there. That is no man's land here at Indy. Jason Dalton running in the 4 spot. He's reeled in J.W. Miller. A couple of car lengths off his back bumper here, coming to 10.5 to go. This would be the battle for the 3rd position. Sam Fontaine, the number 77, up here at the front of the field. He's a lap car, but remember, there was some significant contact between race leader Steve Miles and Fontaine while Fontaine was leading the race. Miles better tiptoe around the 77 just in case there's some ulterior motives here. I don't know that's the case, but it is always possible. Fontaine goes all the way down to the bottom. I don't know if he's just trying to say, no, I'm good, or he doesn't want to help him. Coming to 9 laps to go. We'll see how Steve Miles can negotiate his way around the 77, if even necessary. He's got 1.8 seconds lead back to the 21 of Brandon Alphin. If he can manage that gap and keep it the same without making the pass on Sam Fontaine, if I were Steve Miles, that's exactly what I'd be doing, but with the damage on the 77, I think he's going to be forced to make this pass at some point. Here we go, down into turn 1. Car length off the back bumper. Yeah, see, Miles checks up a little bit more again. He was pretty close and in a decent position to make the pass, but I'd be willing to bet that Fontaine probably has his last set of tires on too, and he's just come out on the racetrack. Miles taking a peek. Alongside into 3. I don't know Sam Fontaine, but he seems like an okay dude. He's not going to give you a break here, but I don't see him wrecking Miles. Eight laps to go from Indy. Miles gets by the 77 of Fontaine without incident. It's almost 2 seconds back to Brandon Alphen. Meanwhile, J.W. Miller has lost the 3rd spot to Jason Dalton. Let's go back and take a look at it. See how that pass went down. I don't even think that's the right replay. Well, needless to say, Jason Dalton running in the 3rd spot, up 3 positions, started in P6 here this afternoon. Sean Petchen was a valiant effort for a time, up into that 2nd spot, still hanging on to P6 though. Keeping on old tires. I will say this much, though. Jason Dalton is reeling in the 21 of Brandon Alphen with 6.5 to go here. 21 may have to be careful and watch his mirror if he wants to hang on to that runner-up spot. Miles with a 2.2 second advantage over 2nd place. Alphen still right there. Couple of car lengths, maybe 3 ahead of the 2 with Jason Dalton. Your top 5 drivers all made their last pit stop at lap 48. Then it's Sean Petchen. It indicates lap 35. It still might be a typo or a data issue with the Petchen machine. Really all the way down into the first car 1 lap down, Sam Fontaine. The only driver that didn't pit at lap 48. He was lap 51. That may have just been when he completed his pit service after the caution. Seems like everybody on equal footing here at the front of the field. Again, the only question mark being Sean Petchen. If he's on 35 lap tires or older tires than everybody else, 10 plus laps, 13 lap older tires, if that is accurate. I want to give that man a round of applause because to hang on to that 6th spot with that much older tires here at Indy, very impressive. The leader's last lap was a 55.84. Petchen ran a 55.90, so he was right there with him. Dalton still catching him though. Fontaine in the mix, still a lap down on the racetrack though. I give him credit for sticking with it. Have to keep a close eye on this battle for 2nd though. Brandon Alphen over Jason Dalton. Ooh, Alphen got the left front on that curb. Not to say that's a bad thing. If your car's pushing real bad, it's tight mid-corner, you get the left front on that inside curb, it will seriously help it rotate. You gotta be careful though. We used to do that in the ARCA car here, and you couldn't do it. It would just rotate around, and you'd be in the wall before you could think about it. Less than 4 laps to go. Alphen maintaining the 2nd spot over Jason Dalton. I think Dalton might be a tick faster. In fact, last lap 300ths faster, and that's with the car in front of you. Alphen goes to the bottom to take away the draft and a little bit of that entry. It is technically an oval, but the crossover coming here with Dalton looking to the inside. And he's alongside, takes the spot through the short chute into the final corner. Move the 2 up to P2. Jason Dalton into second place, coming to 3 laps to go. Brandon Alphen slips back to third. Alex Bryson in fourth. He's not too far back either. Alphen's got to be careful here. He's got to protect. But talking about this place being an oval, it's very similar. And some guys will cringe when I say it, but it is very similar to a road course in the sense that you can kind of take a guy's line away on the entry. Yes, you can do that at other ovals, but visually, it is a lot like what you see in road racing. You take an alternate lane, maybe a whole car width or 2 further to the inside so that the guy can't get down there, knowing full well that he can't pass you on the outside in most cases. That was the case here. Alphen was pulling that line and trying to block the 2 from making the move to the bottom, but ultimately it set him up for the crossover, and Dalton took the second spot away. Almost a straightaway lead here for the 24 of Miles with 2 laps to go. Steve Miles with 4 seconds the advantage over P2. Dalton starting to put some distance between himself and the 21. J.W. Miller has gone around the 38 of Alex Bryson for position. That puts Miller up into the 4 spot with a lap and a half to go. Let's see if he can reel in Brandon Alphen, but no, I don't think so. These 2 are going to battle it out for position. Final lap here from Indianapolis. Steve Miles putting on a clinic here today. There's really just, I don't know. I don't think there was anybody out there that could touch the 24. His pace has just been faster than everybody else. Cautions have fell their way. Tire changes. No late cautions to change things up. We're on the final lap, so nothing's going to stop him now unless he has a failure or runs out of gas. Down the backstretch for the final time into turn number 3. Steve Miles looking for another victory, and this time here at the famed Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Into the final short chute, 1 more left turn, turn number 4, and onto the main straightaway here at Indy. Steve Miles, clear sailing out in front. He's going to win the Brickyard 200. Steve Miles, your race winner. Jason Dalton finishes second. Brandon Alphen comes home P3. Battle between Miller and Bryson goes Miller 4th and Bryson 5th. Miles still in the throttle, just wants to get back to the front stretch so he can celebrate. Dalton slows up to the yard of brick. Oh, Sam Fontaine coming into it, not happy. Pulling to Denny Hamlin. Top 3 park on the front stretch here, and some extras. Well, with that, we're going to jump out and get our final break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers for interviews after this. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back in Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard 200 in the books, and Steve Miles with a possibly controversial win. Pull Steve up into the broadcast booth and get a word with the driver of the number 24 Ric Flair Drip Machine. It's Steve in the HBR TV booth. Mr. Miles, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy. How you doing?
Good, Steve. How are you, man?
I'm feeling down right now, Steve. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well,
feeling real down.
You got to win, and I'm kind of wondering, I think I might know why you're down. Let's walk through it, man. What's going on?
Oh, man, had a dominant race, man. Me and my teammates, all three of us, man. Well, four of us came in the top 5, and we was we was confused, man. We didn't know what to run, what setup to run. I know I had a good fast car in Atlanta. I wanted to copy the same setup, but I don't know, man. So, I mean, I dominated. Alpin dominated. We had the best 2 cars. It's just when that strategy came up, we didn't want it to be like Atlanta. We didn't want to not take tires and then go green and feel that feeling again. So we took them and restarted. I don't know why I restarted at 3rd. Fontaine blocked the inside line and was going to force me to go on the outside. And just like Atlanta, man, he know how to make it hard to pass and make it tough on you. And I wanted to see what I didn't want to see it, but I wanted to see what the strategy was was it gonna work out or not. And I knew if I went on the outside of him, Alvin was gonna get to the inside. He was gonna take that clean air, and I was gonna have to fight harder, burn my stuff up. So I pushed it harder. I never braked early ever before like that, how Fontaine did. And I was in my head, I was just gonna cross him over. I knew he was driving straight in the corner. He was gonna slide up, but apparently he braked hard enough to make the turn. And when I got into him, I hit the brake, but I couldn't slam on it because Alvin was behind me. I didn't want to mess him up, and that was my first time I wrecked somebody in this league, man. Out of 3 seasons, and it's sad that it had to be the fastest guy in the whole league, and I feel bad for him, and I apologize over and over. I was talking to him before the race, so I'm just gonna keep apologizing. I cash out him some money for dinner or whatever I gotta do, man. But overall, I mean, it is what it is.
It's racing, man. I mean, you're inches apart. You're making contact. I mean, that's part of the game. Unfortunately, it's never going to be perfect. Once in a while, you're going to get into somebody. There's going to be some short tempers, and I don't know. It is what it is. We move on to next week. It's all you can really do, right?
Yeah, but when you hold yourself to a high standards like I do, man, I don't race dirty. I don't like wrecking nobody, man. That's the only thing I can hold above my head in this league and tell anybody. And now I lost that right. So it is what it is. I'm pretty sure I locked in the playoffs and Alpin, and just trying to get my teammates in there. And we got Michigan next, and then the start of the playoffs. It's just like last season, but just got to keep that momentum going.
So you mentioned Michigan. Of course, that's where we're headed next week on the 26th. 100 laps out in the Irish Hills. How do you feel about Michigan, another high-speed racetrack?
This is the first season I ever ran this car. Last time I went to Michigan was in trucks, and I'm pretty sure I won that one. I'm not gonna say the same for this race. I mean, just gonna have to put our heads down and practice and learn what we can to come out to Michigan. But any mile and a half, I'm comfortable at, man. I don't know what it is about it. I'm always fast at them or whatever. I'm surprised I put the lap time for qualifying for this race. So only thing we're gonna focus on is getting one or two of my teammates in the playoffs next race and try to get the win still.
All right, Steve. Well, again, congratulations, man, on the race win here at Indy. We're gonna let you go. Who do you want to shout out to?
Shout out to my paint designer, Bo Caro. Painting my Ric Flair drip Chevy, man. It's my lucky car. I got so many paint schemes, but I haven't even changed one because I feel like I need to race this one every dang on week because it looks so good. And thank Alvin, Alex Bryson, J.W. Miller for the dedication, man, and putting this strong team together. Well, I put it together in this. I mean, we're first in points, having good runs. I haven't finished out the top 8, and man, thank you, man. Thank you for broadcasting, and thank Peacher for putting this league together, and sorry again to Fontaine. And 2 more. I gotta thank God and thank my girlfriend, so I don't get in trouble.
Covered all the bases, Steve. Congratulations, man. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck at Michigan.
Thank you.
Steve Miles, your race winner. Certainly excited, certainly disappointed at the same time. He holds himself to a high standard there. Did not want to wreck the 77. It certainly sounds like it. I believe him. Not guilty. But it's what it is, as he said. Next, we'll go to Jason Dalton in the 2. Drove through the field here to get up into that second spot here late. Took it over with 3 laps to go. Jason Dalton at Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Jason, congratulations, man. We were just talking about it. We watched you kind of work your way up through that top 5 in the closing stages of this race and took that second spot with just a few laps to go, man. What was the strategy on the restart? Did you save some tires a little bit for the end? Is that how you got by the 21?
No, I didn't really plan on saving a lot of tires. It just worked out to where we were kind of equal there for the first 10, 15 laps or so before I was able to get around them. But I was a little bit quicker on the long run, but I wasn't saving a whole lot. Competition was just pretty tough there when everybody was on even tires to begin with.
It really is a difficult place to really try and save much of anything. You got to carry so much speed down the straightaways. And by the time you get to the corner, well, you're going to shred the tire anyway, so you might as well just make lap time. So you did a good job with just that. You end up coming up here second in the overall standings. Was there anything short of extra laps that you could have done differently to take the checkered flag here tonight?
No, not really. I mean, it just, if I could have got around those guys a little bit quicker, I might have got closer to Miles, but I don't think I ever would have done anything with him. He was super fast, but you know, I might have scared him a little bit at least, but I don't think I had anything for him.
All right, Jason. Well, either way, a job well done. A good runner-up finish here at Indy. Next week, we roll into the Irish Hills of Michigan. How do you feel about your chances there?
I like Michigan. I don't have no issue with it. Still, you know, kind of a semi-super speedway, and you gotta get through the corners good and get your draft down the straightaways. I like the track. It's pretty fun to drive, but it'll be tough. You just got to figure out who will work with you and what works with your line.
Well, Jason, thanks for talking to us, man. Again, a nice job on that second place finish. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks, man. Just my friends and family that watch and support me. The KJD2 team. You know, we work real well together and help each other out. So shout out to those guys, and you know, you for doing the broadcast, man. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jason, and again, good luck next week, man.
Thanks, sir.
Jason Dalton, your runner-up here at Indy. Next driver we'll speak to is our third place finisher. It's going to be Brandon Alphin in the number 21 machine. Brandon, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You with us?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations, man. We keep talking under these circumstances. It's usually a runner-up or a third place, but, man, you're here almost every single week. Consistency, certainly the recipe for you this season. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it usually, you know, Indy is one of my favorite tracks on iRacing. I love coming here. I really can't tell you why I like it. I just always seem to have good speed, and, you know, just kind of was hoping for a good qualifying run. And then, you know, Miles, I don't know what, I'm going to have to talk to him. I don't know what he had in his car, man. He was fast, and even, you know, when we take tires, and I short pitted him there, and you know, I thought I was saving, but you know, he just kind of had it dialed in and kind of was in his zone doing his thing. And then you know, Dalton, that last run, he was fast, and you know, kind of caught me for P2 right there, and you know, came home with the top three, and just ready to move on to next week, kind of keep the momentum rolling.
Well, you bring up next week. We talked about Michigan with the other two drivers. How do you feel about Michigan Speedway? 2 mile, a little bit higher banking here than we have at Indy. It's a fast racetrack. What are your thoughts on your chances next week?
I mean, I'm just going to hope for a top 10. I mean, Michigan's kind of one of them tracks, especially, you know, obviously it's not plate racing, but it's very, very similar to it in the sense where we always usually kind of get packed together. And you know, I'll be honest with you, Michigan's never been one of my favorite tracks. I just kind of hope to come home with a top 10. You know, usually it provides for some pretty good racing. Usually, though, I will say in this league in years past, so I'm sure it'll be a good race. But like I said, pretty much do what I do every week. Just kind of stay clean and just try to be there at the end. And then, you know, if it comes down to, you know, pit strategy, whatever it may be, you know, just kind of, like I said, just try to be there for, I think it's is it 80 laps again? I don't know how many laps.
It's 100 laps, 200 miles.
100 laps, yeah. So just try to be there lap at 100. Really, it's kind of my go every week and stuff. So just kind of keep the momentum rolling.
Finish first. First, you must finish. That's the saying we always hear. So that's a good plan indeed. Brandon, again, congratulations on a third place finish here at Indianapolis. I know it's not a win, but either way, consistency, we talked about that. That seems to be the name of the game for you as of late. We're going to let you slide here. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, give a shout out. We had a great, give a shout out to everybody over at Laser Racing. We had a really good run. All 4 of us finished in the top 5, so that was pretty cool. It'd definitely be a good team points day for us. Then also give a shout out to sponsors over at HBR TV. Again, appreciate you coming on. hopping on the hood for this season. Glad I've been able to put together a couple good showings and stuff this year. So I definitely appreciate that. And also as well, everything you guys do at HBR TV, the broadcasts. I mean, like I said, I always enjoy going back and watching them, and appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, Brandon. I wish we could do more of these things live. I keep getting caught out being out of town with having to do makeup races, but hopefully that gets better as we roll into next season. But again, congratulations, man. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck next week at Michigan.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Brandon Elfin, your third place finisher here at Indianapolis. Again, we talked about Michigan quite a bit already, but don't forget, that is next week, July 26th, here at HBR TV, the Downrange Transport Premier Series from Michigan Speedway. That's going to be a good one to watch. It usually puts on excellent races. It doesn't matter whether we're in a cup car, a truck, an Xfinity. It doesn't seem to make a difference whatsoever. So we've got high expectations, boys. Let's make it a good one. With that, let's take a look at our overall race results. Of course, we talked to Steve Miles, Jason Dalton, Brandon Elfin, your top three. Well, that's interesting. Stand by. I'll try this again. There we go. Steve Miles, Jason Dalton, Brandon Elfin, your top three. J.W. Miller was fourth. Alex Bryson, P5. Sean Petchin was sixth. Alex Cummings finishes in the seventh spot. Diego Sainz with 101 fever and all finishes in the eighth spot. Ben Pierce was ninth. Tristan Lattiser was 10th. Chris Dean, your biggest mover on the day, passed 10 cars to get up into that 11th spot. Cameron Ingram was 12th. Jacob Drift was not able to use that final set of tires. Tough break. It was a valiant effort. He just needed some luck to fall his way. He finishes 13th. Chris Evans was 14th. Sam Barnes, P15. Richard Midkiff was 16th. Tyler Brewer, 17th. Sam Fontaine, after his being wrecked effectively, I mean, that's what happened. He got wrecked while he was leading. He finishes in the 18th spot. I know Steve Miles very apologetic about that issue, but it is what it is. We talked about it. That's racing sometimes. You're inches apart. You're all fighting for the same piece of real estate, and, well, there you have it. The admins will work it out from there. 19th was Justin Bondurant. Luke Simonson was 20th. Matt Telder, 21st. Josh Gagnon was 22nd. 23rd went to Blaine Sparling. Luke Knupp and Gary Wright, 24th and 25th. They did not take the green flag here this afternoon. So that's going to wrap it up again for us. Congratulations to Steve Miles, another win on the season. Again, he's not familiar with this Xfinity car, but I tell you, the more he drives this thing, the faster he seems to get. He's going to be harder and harder to guard as we get later into the season and then into the playoffs, and that's coming up pretty soon. So, got to find a way to beat that number 24, and if not, well, there's a championship to be won at the end of the season, and 24 of Steve Miles definitely has his eyes on it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Join us again next week. If you haven't already done it, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. If you do nothing else, just like the stream. It's at youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. That makes a big difference. And you can do the other things too, like it, follow it, share it, subscribe it. It does make a difference. It really does help us out a lot. The likes are right now at least the most important part of it. So if you can do that, it goes a long way. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you at the next one. Have a good night.